Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Redmews Maze of Death. Just me this episode. Spark was not able to join us for this one. It's actually a good thing because we can undo some of the stuff that he did last time without him interfering. You can see me here setting up a to-do list, and I'll go over those real quick. The first thing on our to-do list is to move the science from where Spark put it to a different location. Then we want to go ahead and automate our green science. Right after that, we want to automate every single inserter. We want to automate miners, assemblers, gun turrets, and sniper turrets as well, just to make sure that we're prepared for an offensive that's going to take place next episode. So without further ado, let's get started on it. If you were paying attention while I was going over the to-do list, you might have noticed that I was putting in a bunch of science orders. The idea behind that was I would cut off the belt feeding the science labs and just put it through a bunch of red science and have all the science labs eat up all the red science. Well, that would have worked, but I got a little impatient, so I ended up just putting a chest at the very end to scoop up all the science packs, and they ended up going in my pocket anyways. Time to go ahead and route these through to where the new home is going to be. On a side note, we have sound this episode. Yay! Factorio sound didn't crash on me again. A little bit of belt work later, and we're at the location for the new science labs. There's really nothing special about this setup, so I just skipped forward to when it was fully complete. So that's item 1 scratched off the list. Next up is green science. If you didn't know, green science is where the developers kind of hint, nudge you into thinking that you actually need to be making belts and inserters for the rest of your time playing through. They use this strategy with all the other science packs, but green science is the first time where you actually have placeable machines as part of the ingredients instead of just intermediary products like gears. You can see me right there using Hellmod to make sure that I have enough belt and inserter assemblers so that I can run 10 green science assemblers. I like to have 10 of each of red and green science assemblers, not for any balancing purposes or anything. We're not in the stage of trying to make sure that I can handle, 1,000 science per minute. I just like the way they look. About partway through setting up the green science, I realized trying to do all of this out of my pocket and crafting 10 inserters by hands, really kind of stupid when I'm definitely a big advocate of not doing that. So I went ahead and automated assemblers. Also, part of that was I realized I didn't have green science research, so I had to kind of wait for that to research. But hey, both problems are now solved and we can get back to building the green science assemblers. And with the magic of video editing and nanobots, we're done with that part, so we can cross that off our list as well. Next actionable item on the to-do list is the inserters. We've got 4 regular inserter types unlocked right now, and then 1 thrower inserter type, but I plan to have all the rest automated as well, so we're going to go ahead and plan ahead for those. We just got level 2 assemblers unlocked, and I think, this is starting to look like our first mall. Maybe we should have more than just iron and green circuits on the belt, so I go ahead and, using the magic of nanobots, just move it over about 5 tiles. This will allow us to add in more resources should machines further down the line need them. I really don't care about throughput of the assembled items because they're really just there for players to grab, every 5 minutes or so. So just having 1 belt for resources or even half a belt for certain resources is more than sufficient. This design for inserters is pretty standard, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip forward a bit. And we're done. Cross that item off the list. Quick detour here to get rid of a bunch of red science assemblers that Spark had made. I'm literally just doing this to get it down to only 10 each of red and green science assemblers. For no other reason other than having more than 10 bothers me, because it's out of balance. But yep, nope, those are gone now. And now for our first unplanned addition to the mall, loaders. I really just adore loaders. I feel like they should have been in the base game, and it's really sad to see that the devs didn't want to do that, but here we are. This is another mod that I really don't play without at any point. It just adds so much to your logistics that you can do. Don't blink or you might miss it. Miners are now automated. Stuff is so much easier when you've got a nice line with all your needed resources on it. Of course, sometimes you need more resources, so I added a couple more gear makers on it. Look, when I said it didn't need to be balanced, I meant it didn't need to be perfect. It just can't suck. Fast forwarding over about an hour of me running around the factory like a ADHD squirrel, and we're on to the next task, which is making lamps. I don't remember this being on the list, but hey, here it is. These are actually going to be important because while I would normally not use lamps in any of my factories, YouTube sort of needs not dark in its videos for the compression algorithm to not just crap the bed and make all your videos look like doo-doo. So for better or worse, I love lamp. Now what you're seeing me do here is get rid of all of the science labs and just simply rebuild them in place. This is because of a weird quirk of one of the mods called Disco Science, which lights up the labs according to the color that they're currently researching. So in Factorio, you have the ability to do a replay of all your actions in the game, which works up until the point that you change anything in the game, mostly just mods. The way to get around the fact that your replays stop replaying if you change a mod is to take the save game, turn it into a scenario, and then reboot the scenario, which is what I've been doing for just about every single episode here. If you saw me there, I've had 1, 2, and 3 episodes there. Basically, every time that I changed episodes, I changed a mod, or it was the end of a game session where I wanted to have the entire replay turned into a time lapse later, like in a multiplayer game. The side effect of doing this is every single player loses their inventory, which is why I have a couple of chests at the very start area. And then also, Disco Science completely stops working for all the labs that are already placed in the area. So to fix that, I've got to replace all the labs, and I have to do this every time a new game save loads. Another small side effect is the level up mod doesn't remember levels, so I have to spawn in these level up potions so that everybody can get back to the levels that they are. It's a bit of a hassle, but it's worth it to have that recording later, and you're going to see some of those benefits in the next video. What's next on the list? Steel smelting? Steel smelting, right? That's 100% on the list. Okay, never mind, it's not, but you know what? Forget the list anyways. We're just doing it live, okay? Steel smelting is going to be important because we want to upgrade to red ammo soon, particularly before the next episode. You know, I could totally make a nice belt balancer here and have it set up to, pull exactly off of that, but just one balancer off of one line will do for right now. Hey, look at that. We have steel. That totally wasn't 15 minutes of cut footage right there. Nope. Don't know what you're talking about. Putting a little chest there just, for a buffer. I set it up with a circuit condition versus using the built-in Factorio limiting system for chest, mostly so that I can later put in resources that are excess in my inventory into that, and they can just feed into the system easily. Hey, we're working on gun turrets. That was on the list, I think. Now, what's better than gun turrets level 1? Gun turrets level 2. Why make only one level when you can make 2? As you can see here, I'm not even bothering to store the level 1 turrets. They're just inferior. Level 2 all the way. And now that we have steel plates, we can upgrade the steel furnaces to steel furnaces. And then of course expand it, because you can never have enough steel furnaces. We're about to wrap up the episode here. What was that last item on the list? Oh yeah, sniper turrets. And they need military science. I guess we're not doing that. But what we could do, since we now have steel on this line, we can make up some of the electric poles, which would be super useful moving forward. And for one of the final things I do in this episode, I take some of the newly made gun turrets Mark II and replace some of the turrets at the wall with them. So even though some of these turrets up here were already upgraded to a different level, I think it's more beneficial to have the gun turrets Mark II up there instead of just, the gun turret Mark I Sergeant or whatever it was. Just because then that gun turret Mark II can be upgraded to a higher level later and will eventually outpace the Mark I turrets in terms of damage. Okay, last thing this episode, I swear. I get the nanobots up and running to be automated so that I can just always have them on hand at any time. Well, you know, now that I've got nanobots, miners, medium poles, and all the belts being crafted, I can probably just, you know, super quick just mine this entire iron deposit we've got here. That should be super quick. Okay, last thing, I swear this is going to be the last thing. Okay, well, the miners are built, but I can't just leave them unconnected to the main smelting system, can I? No, can't leave the base in this type of condition. Okay, good. After that last item wrapped up, now the iron's going into the furnace, and we can actually wrap this thing up. I mean, if I'm gonna do it to the iron patch, I might as well do it to the coal patch too, right? Power's looking a little low. Yeah, that's a quick fix. We can fix it before we end this episode, right? A few of these should do the trick. You know, I really should automate steam engines and steam boilers, shouldn't I? You know, and while we're doing that, we might as well make some rails too, because that's going to be super useful moving forward, especially after we wrap this episode up. And a mere 3 hours later, we just automated boilers. Steam engines too. And that's where I'm going to call it for this episode. If you like what you're seeing, feedback is appreciated, positive or negative. If you want to see more, go ahead and click that, you know, whatever the buttons YouTube has nowadays to be notified when we launch the next episode. Thank you, goodbye.